What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Smithy and a happy holidays to you all. Today I will be teaching you how to bake a cake. We will start with a pan and making the batter and doing all that sort of fun stuff. Pay no mind to that other me. He's just cold and sleep deprived from working on this project. We may one day bake a cake, but that is not what we are doing today. As the title suggests, this is the, I guess, long-awaited part 5 of my helmet build. The other me you see there has been working tirelessly trying to engineer it and is succeeding, but he needs a little nap. So in his place I will be going through making these upgrades and, well, the next chapter in this saga. So as I said last time, so long ago now, today, or this project, we focus on getting the aerators done and kind of the basic beginning stages of the ventilation. So involving some fans and getting them installed and starting to seal up some of these external holes that let you see into the helmet and shouldn't be there. So that is what is on today's docket. I know you guys have been waiting. I can see from my video analytics that y'all really like this project, which makes me very excited. Y'all don't seem to care too much about the other projects, but y'all love this one, which is awesome because I love it too. So today, or over the next few days, weeks, or whatever, we shall be getting the next step of this done. Let us begin. So sadness, my computer discovered or figured out how I used to screen record using the game bar, and apparently it doesn't like me doing this, and so it didn't let me do it this time when I was doing my Blender modeling for the video, but it didn't tell me it wasn't doing it when I started it. So we don't have the beautiful time lapse of me creating the 3D parts in Blender, but I can talk you through and walk you through the parts that I've finished with. So over here on the left is number 1. It's 30 millimeters wide. It's the first one. Over here on the right is where I'm starting to pull in some more definition, get things a little clearer. Number 3 on the back here, I'm starting to add even more definition at this stage. And then number 4 here in the center, I have successfully finished all the details, and it is now ready to 3D print, and that is what we will go do. Again, sorry that we don't have a time lapse. I now have the right software on my computer that will allow me to grab those time lapse, those screen captures in the future. Alright, so just finished rough sanding these guys. I'm not going to put them through their heavy sanding yet, but they're at the stage. We can give them a little look what they will what they will look like. There we go. Start to get an idea. So now that we are to this stage, it is time to start designing the guts. I've got this nice perforated stainless steel. See if we get that focused. This is going to go on the at the end here in the hole to match kind of the look we get in Battlefront 2 and from other sources that I can find. Looked like from those sources that the holes were a little more elongated, a little more oval shaped and less just straight circle, but I could not find perforated sheet metal in that size, or not that I didn't have to order in like huge massive bulk for construction projects. So, but this does match some of the reference images I found, so it should do nicely. So we're gonna go ahead and get to work cutting this out and seeing about getting it installed in y'all. I used the sheet metal shears and the clamp to cut out the basic square containing the shape I need. Now I'm using the bench grinder to grind that square into a circle. It's much easier this way. So as you can see, the large perforated sheet metal has been cut and ground to shape. I'm now going back and creating the same shape using some thin steel mesh. This is going to act as a background behind the large perforated sheet metal, and I'm using a toothpick to install the thin metal mesh since it's nice and pliable and is such a tight fit. Now it's time to design the metal plates that will attach to the helmet. The aerators will attach themselves to these so that they can be modular and can be removed and be maintenanced or replaced if they need to be. I tried several methods to cut out this small piece of mild steel. In the end, the simplest way, or the most accurate way, was to cut out the square in its entirety using the sheet metal shears, cutting them into their individual squares, each containing the shape I needed, and then grinding them to shape on the bench grinder. Now what you see here is on one side of the steel plate in my hand are some magnets, on the other side are the steel nuts. The magnets are holding the steel nuts in place. Now this is because I can't see where the steel nuts need to go when I install this piece in the helmet. So the magnets hold them in place enough, but let them move so that when I take the piece out to look at it, I can see where I need to mark for the nuts to be installed. Alright, at this stage of the build, I've drilled out and basically gotten the steel plates to their finished state. Now I'm just using some JB weld to attach the nuts in place. Now, what I've discovered here is that JB weld's strong, but in such small quantities, and with forces acting against the nuts, like the forces of the screw going into it, it's not quite strong enough. So I think in the future I will make these, I will silver solder the nuts onto the steel instead. But that is the advantage of making these pieces modular and replaceable, is I can make an exact duplicate set better and just switch them in. So, for now, this will work. In the future, we may upgrade these. Alright, so now it is time to design the mounting brackets that the actual aerators will mount to. So up to now we have designed the brackets that attach to the helmet. Now what you see me doing is using those patterns and the shape and size of the fan that I have traced. I am designing the shape and cutting out the pattern for the brackets that the aerators mount onto. So the aerators and fans mount directly to these internal brackets, which then can be screwed into the previous brackets that I have built, making the entire system modular so I can replace, upgrade, and maintenance things as need be. So again, here I am with the Dremel using a carbide bit to cut out the internal space in the bracket. Now again, I'm out in the shop using the bench grinder to take the outer edge of the shape to its final form. And now at last, I'm drilling out the holes for the bolts to go through. A little sanding and pre-assembly just to check and make sure everything works. Alright, it's been a second since I gave an update. So at this stage what I'm doing is testing to make sure that the brackets that the aerators will attach to mount correctly into the brackets that go onto the helmet. So far this one has, and now I'm working on sanding and getting these finished up and getting these assembled, dry assembled, so that I see everything works right and they all go together like I want them to before I attach this into its final place inside the helmet, and then these can be mounted in and will be removable. So that's my update for now. I'm going to get back to sanding and finishing these things. So now what I'm doing is using my bandsaw and my bench grinder to cut and grind the length of the screws down, because they can't fit in the helmet at their full length. They'll be just long enough to interact and connect the two plates. Alright, so what you saw me doing, if you couldn't see it too well from the camera angle, was I was taking this length screw and cutting and grinding it down to this length of a screw. So you can see the difference there. They were too long. They were all just too long, and you know, it meant these plates couldn't fit into the helmet where they could, because helmet space is so limited in there. And these are in a particularly tight space. So now that we have all these cut and ground down to size, I am going to attach the aerator to them. Now you can see the fully assembled aerator. What I'm doing now is cutting out some pieces of tape and putting them around the steel bracket that will attach to the helmet. These areas will go unpainted and allow the glue to better adhere between the plate and the helmet. Okay, so what you just saw me do, and I wanted to give a little explanation, is I dabbed out a little, because the edges I was working on, here I'll show you. This is a spare aerator shell that I printed. So the edge that I was trying to glue is really narrow, as you can see. It's this edge here. That's really narrow, and the glue bottle you know, it comes out more than that edge can take, and so if I did that and then I tried to apply it, there'd be a big glob coming out from either side of the edge, so I didn't want to do that. So what I did was I took a little of this, glued it onto just a piece of paper I had on top of my desk, kind of like you do a painter's palette, and then I just took, this is a little piece of a staple that I clipped off. This is the end of a staple, a long staple that I clipped off from another project that's up here. And so I used it kind of like a paintbrush. I dab it in the wet glue and then just run it along the edge until the edge was fully coated. And then I had just, so I would have just the right amount and I could press it on. And that's what, that's what I was just doing as a great little, not necessarily a tool tip, but you know, great way of using something that really is just rubbish at this point and making it useful, make it work for you when you're doing a project. So now that got put these over here, put everything back in place, letting these guys dry. They look good, and in a minute we can, or I guess just now, not in a minute for y'all. Let's go ahead right now and I think that's the shortest painting I've ever done on this channel. Now I'm removing those tape circles that I previously applied. Alright, so I've already gone ahead and assembled one of them because I'm about to try and glue them in place. So I want to glue them in like this so that I know for sure that it fits when it's going in, and then in a day when it's dry I'll take it out once it's fully set up. I don't have to wait really a full day, but I want to. I could wait just a few hours, but I really want to wait a full day to let it really get hard. So there's one assembled, and here's the other one. And remember, just very simply, hold on, I need to do this real quick. Make sure there's enough clearance, because the clearance is tight. There we go. Yep. So very simply, get it where y'all can see it. Get my finger out of the way. Slides in like that, and then screws into those three. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll see about gluing these in. Here we go. Alright, so for exposition's sake, what I've done is I've taken this this Gorilla adhesive goop type substance, and I dotted it on those 6 little dots that you saw me remove, that you saw me tape up and then remove on the rim of the steel. So I have dotted those on there, that's what you saw me doing, and then I have installed them to where those dots should be in contact with the plastic on the backside, if I did this correctly. At this stage, I don't know. Sorry, one second. I appear to need some water. Eating too many goldfish. Alright. So, there we go. Alright, so yeah, at this stage, there's 6 dots of adhesive on each aerator, and then a line of adhesive on the back side here. There's a little bit extra I did. I'm gonna wait a full 24 plus hours before I even flip this helmet, because I want it to fully cure. At this stage, I don't know if that's enough or if it's made enough contact to where it will hold. It should, but that's why I'm going to wait the full 36 hours so it can completely cure. I want these things to be strong enough to where, you know, a high-powered airsoft BB is not going to move them, you know, dislodge them. But since this is the very first time I've made these, I want to, if I need to, I want to be able to remove them completely. And the goop is extremely strong. I mean, when you use the right amount and you get the right surface-to-surface contact between the goop, it is insanely strong. But the way I've done this, it should mean, but goop isn't, like pretty much all adhesives, you can usually, you know, find a way to get it to let go. And so with goop, if you put enough pressure for a long enough period, it will come off. And so the way I've designed it is, if I need to, I should be able to just put a little piece of pry material in there and just give it enough pressure at the right angle with the right lever for long enough, and it should come free if I need to. Because this is the first time I've made these, and while I'm 100% sure that my design, my overall design of how these aerators function as far as being removable and being able to, you know, change them out and maintenance in them, I'm 100% sure it is a perfect idea. I'm like 90% happy with my execution of it. So if something goes wrong, I want to be able to fully remove it and maintenance it, even the brackets that are supposed to say permanently in place. So that's the update for now. 24 to 36 hours before I even flip this helmet back up into its upright position. Give these time to fully cure, and then hopefully tomorrow or in a few days I will you'll see me flipping this thing right side up and testing them and being satisfied that they're strong enough. So for you, it will be but a scene wipe. For me, it'll be a little bit. But next. All right. The final step of this part of the build. I don't want to use contact adhesive in this instance, just because it has a tendency to kind of, it smokifies the surrounding material. It kind of has a chemical reaction with the nearby material, makes it look kind of smoky, discolors it at a distance, which I don't want because I like the finish of these. So I am going to just put a little of this on here, enough to do an effective job. And again, if I really needed to, I could pry this off. I could pry this stuff off and maintenance it if I really needed to, but I don't envision having to do that. So scooch that over. There's one, and again, allow it a full 36 hours or so to set up, just to be safe. It will honestly be hard enough to handle within a few hours, but I like being certain. So that's one. I will put it over here. Now let's do two, and again I'm making sure that these will be blowing air out. That is the direction I am pointing the blades. right. Part. Well, the aerators are finished and installed, and they look fantastic. And they function really, really well. So as I said, I'm about idea, 100% good idea. Execution, 90%. Since I've had these in and I've been messing with them a little bit, I've discovered just a few little things that for a future version I could change. Very simple little things that would improve it. I probably will do that. I probably am going to end up getting the actual printed parts machined out in steel and making these things entirely made out of steel, so they're just stronger, they can withstand abuse more, you know, and it fits better with the whole fully functional, realistic Clone Trooper helmet thing. So I'm currently looking into doing that, but we can see, let's see if I can get this onto the camera without damaging it. Without damaging the camera. We can see they look great, and they function really well. They screw and unscrew really easily. I will be happier when I have a version of these where the nuts are silver soldered onto the steel plate, because I know it'll be stronger, but these things work really, really well. They look really, really good. So that is the aerators complete, but that is not the end of this video, no, because I am going to do, well, the second part of this video, part 2 of this video, is where I focus on getting the space behind these. I'm honestly not sure what these things are for Bakara's helmet. I have not quite figured out what they're supposed to be, but they're on the helmet. I've cut them in my steel. But they let you see into the helmet and see the 3D printed parts, so I have devised a way to seal them and have these also work as part of the air system. And so that's what we're going to do now, is get this component built. So hang on for part 2. Alright. First, I want to make a rough shape, rough outline. Alright. What am I going to do here? Alright, so I am going to make, after this I'm going to clean my scissors, they're sticky. But for now, I am going to make the paper template for this part, from which I will make, that's better, from which I will make the steel template, or the steel. Alright, so before we jump into doing this next part, I want to talk about the part I just received that is going into the next part. So, for this component of the helmet, it needed to be a steel mesh. I want to get a steel mesh that had a, really tiny hole. I've used steel mesh in like the in the grill that goes behind the aerator, or not the aerator, the what look like the breathing holes that cover that form the little shape below the visor. I've got some steel mesh behind there, yeah. But for these areas of the helmet, which I'll show you, for these areas, behind these areas, and in these areas, I wanted a fine steel mesh, a much smaller whole steel mesh. So if you can see it on camera, you can see the regular mesh in here, regular size, normal size steel mesh. But for these parts, I want it to be a much finer steel mesh. So that's one of the things that took me some time, was learning the terminology, because searching super fine steel mesh, honestly, it pops up a lot of like cooking equipment on Amazon, so I had to learn the terminology to search for, to find the proper steel mesh with the right size holes. And so I ended up finding it. I ordered a steel mesh. It's a 400 steel mesh that has a hole size of 0.038 millimeters. .038 millimeters, like less than 1 millimeter. So not 1 millimeter, .038 millimeters. So super tiny hole. I was like, yay, super tiny hole. That's what I want. And so today I just got it in, and I was like, oh, yay, this will be cool. I'll get to look at it. And so I start opening the package, and as I was pulling it out, my finger was in there pulling it out, and I was like, wow, that's a really smooth, like glass-like surface. Is there like some piece of paper on the inside of the tube? And then I pulled it out and got a look at it. I was like, oh no, that is the mesh. And I am amazed. This 400 steel mesh, this is basically metal fabric at this point. It is crazy. It is super, super, super crazy. I mean, I can't even see. Yeah, I can just barely see one hole. And I mean, I can barely make it out. I can't see the hole. I can barely make out where one hole is. It is super ridiculously crazy. This is steel. This is stainless steel. It's ridiculous. So yeah, when I bought it, I was like, oh yay, tiny hole, awesome. And then I got it, I was like, oh, that's a tiny hole, my lord. So this will work really well. Like this is really this is way better than I was expecting. Now it being super thin, I anticipated it was going to be a small hole and that it was going to be relatively fragile. And since these areas are on the front of the helmet and they're on the exterior of the helmet, I was always planning I'm going to back up the steel mesh with the perforated steel that I've used for the aerators. So this will be behind it to add some structure. That way a BB can't just hit the mesh and deform it and mess it all up or shatter a hole in it. So this will go behind it, but I just wanted to stop and rant for a few minutes about how crazy fine this mesh is. Most people aren't going to be probably going to be able to tell it's metal. They're not going to be sure what it is. They're just going to probably think it's a solid surface when they're looking at it. And they'll say, no, that's just a metal mesh, a super crazy fine metal mesh. But that is now what we're going to start doing now that I've got these parts. I do need to wait a few more days. I need to get some, both of these are stainless steel. I need to get some solution that can help me black oxidize them. Because I don't really want to spray paint these, especially not this one. I really don't want to spray paint this one because it would probably clog the holes. So, gonna wait a few days, get that, and then we can, for you, obviously it'll be nothing, but yeah, I'm gonna wait a few days, get that, and then we can start on the next part of this video. All right, here we go. Alright, a little post-process work, deburring them and smoothing out the edges, but that's a start. On to the next thing. Which, in this case, is taking off my apron. Someone tell Adam Savage I want a nice waxed canvas apron like he has. Or leather, honestly. Considering the angle grinder, leather is probably a smarter idea. Or waxed leather. That angle grinder spins so fast and eats. I mean, I have no other tool, and I've never seen another tool that, besides for my welder, I have no other tool that just eats through metal like it's almost not even there. And consequently, that means the angle grinder also will eat through anything else like it's not there, including the human body. That's why I wear that apron. That thing is very dangerous, spins at very high speed, and if it decides to kick and move on you, well, hope you're not in the way. Alright, next step is I'm gonna deburr these, get all the edges from the cutting clean, smooth around the corners, and then I'm gonna see about getting these things rough bent into shape. I was hoping that wouldn't take me too long, but being a little more resistant than I thought, so I think I'm going to kit up and go use the tool that'll get this done faster, but still let me be very, very precise. So, let's move to the bench grinder. This will give me a high level of control and get us to a finished state much faster. So, all protection on, including my ears. Take my safety gear off. I consider my headlamp a piece of safety gear because it makes it easier to see what I'm doing, so I'm less liable to make a mistake or try something stupid trying to do something I can't see. All right. See about changing you guys' position. All right. So let's see how this goes. Yeah. I'll have to do a final weigh-in when this thing's done, see how much the final version weighs. All right, so if that is the pattern, that means, which is, that's correct. And that's incorrect. Okay, so that and that. Mirror images. So let's see. Man, I say I can bend this stuff by hand. Yeah, I can get a little bit. Oh, I should use my gloves for this. It's a pretty thick steel, and stainless steel is a bit tougher to bend than the black iron I normally work with. I'm gonna have to go back outside. Oh well. All right, so I'll stop blinding you here and turn off the music so I can hear my voice volume. All right, so these are now bent, not dramatically, there's really not much curve to them, but enough to fit in there and match closely to the shape of those. So now at this stage, I need to start working with the metal mesh to cover them. And we'll get a pattern, pull that out. We'll cut out a pattern for the metal mesh to drape over it. And then after we cut it out, really I just have to wait for the oxidizer that I've bought. I have to wait for that to come in, which for y'all won't be but a scene change. For me, it'll still be a few days. But that way I can oxidize the stainless steel. Because I want these to be finished that way instead of spray painting them. I really don't think I can spray paint that metal mesh. I think it would clog the pores because the pores are so dang tiny. So black oxidizing is going to be I think is going to be smarter, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and make the template for the metal mesh that's going to cover these. All right. Hello, welcome back. Well, sorry, what am I saying? Sorry, I'm just so excited. I was putting up the Christmas tree, seeing that my last part to the project was arriving tomorrow. And while I was putting up the tree, lo and behold, a U-Haul truck pulls up outside, and I see a FedEx man get out, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, could it be? And yes, indeed it is. So we are going to open her up, and I should have some newspaper. Yes. My last part. NI Black 40. Oxidization solution for stainless steel. Found the YouTube video online for how to use it. And now that I have this, one, I'm really excited because now I'm ahead of schedule. Two, it means I can use the rest of my Sunday. Whoop, there you go. Two, it means I can use the rest of my Sunday to maybe get the helmet finished. Or get this stage of the helmet finished. I'm going to review the video one more time, and then I'll show you how we do this, and we'll be off. Alright, so rewatch the video, and really all I need to do is re-sand the surface of the steel plates. I really can't sand the steel mesh, it would probably destroy it. But just to give the outside surface of the perforated steel a quick sand. And let's see if I can get y'all close. I am wearing gloves because I've never messed with this chemical before, so probably a good idea too. Let's see if I can just get all I want to do at this exact moment is get the Sharpie marks off. I went ahead and marked the back with some Sharpie as well. Yep, much easier. Really, I'm just going around hitting the areas, especially around the edges, where there's discoloration from the cutting process. I'm basically just trying to get off any surface scale that could affect the chemical reaction. The video did not say to dunk these in a bath of like acetone or any sort of cleaning agent to prepare them and get them like perfectly clean. Alright, that's about ready. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. And I can't sand the metal mesh. Alright. Okie dokie. Where'd I put it? Okay, it's right over here. Oh, let's see. Okay. Find a cup. I have that cup, but nope, I'm not gonna use that cup. Nope. I think I just need like just a stack of red Solo cups to add to my shop supplies, just for pouring out liquids and things. Now, typically, like pouring out acetone into a plastic cup, not a good idea. Not a good idea. Acetone likes to eat plastic. Ooh. Doo-doo-doo. Alright, it is late and I am tired because that gluing thing was a whole thing. Super glue doesn't like interacting with this mesh too well, but I kind of forced it to. I'm letting the glue dry now. The exterior, I know it's got all that white, all that what I call the smokify, the chemical reaction that does that. That should be okay because these things are so much larger than the area than what will be visible. So most of that should not appear in any visible portion. If any of it is, I can touch that up a little bit. I think next time I do this, or when I decide to upgrade these, I'll see about getting like some barge cement that I can spray, or just some sort of good spray adhesive that I can put on the perforated sheet metal and then just lay the mesh on top of it, let it dry, then cut off the excess, see if that works better. But this will work for the first version, and I'm gonna let this dry. Even though I'm tired, I want to get this done, and I'm so close to the end. I'm gonna let this dry. It should probably take about 30 to 45 minutes to fully cure and harden, and then I'll see about attaching them with some goop. Let those cure for 36 hours, and then it should be done. And then we'll attach the fans, but that won't be but a second. But all right, for y'all it'll be just the next scene. For me, 45 minutes, but let's get to gooping. Alright, so I couldn't wait completely. I already slotted in the first one, have not glued it in, but I've already installed it. And it really does change the look of the helmet. And here, I can go ahead and install the second one while I talk. What's so awesome is the second I installed it and looked at it, it looked like every high quality image of Bakara or a heavy trooper's helmet that I've seen like on Pinterest. That, you know, I do plenty of research, and so many of those helmets, all those helmets, these holes, the back side of these holes, or sorry, not the back side, but the holes themselves, they just look, they don't look like they're a solid surface. They look like there's some sort of porous something or other, some sort of material, some sort of porous black material, and I really doubt the camera is going to be able to capture it just because it's such a super fine detail. But in person, this looks exactly like, you know, high quality 3D renders of Bakara. It looks solid, but not like a completely solid surface, and that's exactly what I wanted with this 400 mesh. And overall, I mean, it really starts tying the helmet together. I'll toss up an image of a before and after, but let's go ahead and throw some glue in here. Alright, well that should be enough for now. Certainly enough to get them started. So, 36 hours for me, 1 second for you. Alright, so here we are, the very final part. It's not been 36 hours, but it's been near 24, and so that's set up enough that I'm going to glue the fans in place. Yeah. Not get such a massive glob of goop. Perfectly. Well, another wait for 36 hours for me. Another scene change for you. But that's the last step of this build. Time for the reveal. Oh, all right. This stage is done. Relatively little to look at compared to some of the other builds, but it does look great. It feels fantastic. Again, every time I complete a step of this, it just makes it feel more real. I'm very excited about the work. You see, that's an issue I'm gonna have to deal with later in the design is hair and all the, but that'll be helped out with padding. But oh, now I forget what I was gonna say. But what I want to say is, it's looking fantastic. It's going great. The builds are going great. My ideas are working. You know, I'll throw up some side-by-sides right now so you can see some befores and afters. But what you can see is the aerators do a lot, and also those you know, filling in those holes just does a lot to change the look and the feel of the helmet. It's making it feel more real slowly and slowly. It's those detail pieces that do that. It looks good, not as visually stunning as some of the other stuff we've done, but I think at this stage what it's time to start doing, the engineering for this helmet is becoming more and more precise. That's a good way to say it. The engineering for this helmet's coming more and more precise as I dive deeper into the more technical components and the more detailed components. So I think what the next video I do on this helmet is called an upgrade video, where I go back and these aerators that I've made, I'm going to make another set, an upgraded set based off the ways I can see them needing to be upgraded. I'm gonna upgrade those. I'm gonna upgrade these that I just made. Everything that I've made for this video, in the next video, I think I'm just gonna do another version, upgrade them. But then I'm also gonna be, I'm gonna upgrade the main steel plate on the helmet. It's a good steel plate, but going forward, since I have to be more precise with the things I'm building and how they go in here, I want what they fit into to be more precise. So I'm gonna go back, do a little rework on this, and I'll show you. I'll take y'all along, show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna build some jigs and some tools and some special pieces that'll help me get some of these details and some of these upgrades better. I'll get to where they're done better because of those pieces I make. So those will be some fun little builds, kind of some tool builds. But that'll be what the next video is for this. Yeah, so I'm gonna upgrade the aerators, upgrade those. I'm gonna make a vacuum former and do a polycarbonate visor. That way I can just quickly make visors. Polycarbonate stronger, it'll do better for Airsoft. So yeah, I'll do that, I'll do these, I'll do that. I'll upgrade this and build some parts for that. And I'll probably upgrade the some parts internally as well, some of the braces, as well as how I did the neck seal. I'll probably redo that, do a new neck seal. And all that is because everything I'm doing from here on, I want to have a higher level of precision and quality. And so I'm gonna stop now and make sure that everything I've done up to this point is of the same quality before I make anything else. So that'll be the next video I do on this. There will be some videos in between. As I told you, I gotta build a vacuum former. That'll be a video, maybe the next video. I got a million things to do for this project, for the Airsoft realistic functional clone trooper armor. I got a million things to do for that entire kit. A lot of them just for the helmet. But I am satisfied with how well my ideas worked for this one. It took forever to get my ideas, but really good execution once I actually got them. So that's it for today's project, or this stage of the helmet build. Stick around for more fantastic videos, and remember, like, subscribe, share, comment, support on Patreon. You know, and really, I mean it when I say comment. Give me feedback. I read and respond to as many of the comments. I read all the comments and respond to as many of them as I can. I love communicating with y'all. It's fun. It's fun to see you guys excited about this stuff. So, hope to see you next time. I hope you enjoyed watching. This will probably be my Christmas video now that I remember it, because there's no way I'm going to be able to get another video out in less than 2 weeks, or about 2 weeks. Yep, so happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and happy holidays to everybody. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see you next time. Thank y'all for watching that video in its entirety. It means a lot to me that y'all actually watch the whole thing, especially considering how much work I put into the video itself, just the video, not actually producing the thing I make in the video. I was going to do this earlier, but I thought I didn't want to bring you out of the middle of the build, so I'll do it now at the end. I wanted to tell y'all why it takes me so long to get videos out sometimes, especially the helmet, because y'all love the helmet more than anything else. The video analytics are very clear about that. So I wanted to explain basically the 3 things that slow me down. It's inspiration, parts acquisition, and money. Inspiration, any maker that's watching this can tell you, sometimes, you can't force inspiration. Sometimes it's a quick catch and a quick hunt. You get your idea quickly, you love it, you go. Sometimes inspiration takes a while. You can stare at it, hunt it, chase it, and try and force it to get an idea. Doesn't happen. Inspiration comes when it wants to, and sometimes it takes a long time. Lately, and the more advanced I've been getting with these helmet build videos, the harder inspiration's been to find, just because it's getting more difficult. So that's one big one. You have to wait for your idea before you can obviously start. Number 2, if you're not a maker, you may not think of this one, but it actually takes a second to not just get the parts into the shop, but find the parts. For several parts for this build, I had to learn terminology to search for. I couldn't just search metal mesh. I had to actually learn some terminology and search using that terminology in my request before I got what I wanted. And I was spending a long time not finding anything because I wasn't using the right terminology. So that can take a while, much longer than you may expect if you're not a maker. And then the third, the obvious one, money. There's plenty of times I'm just sitting here drumming my fingers thinking, I'd love to work on that. I really wish there was something I can do, but gotta wait till payday. As do all of us for everything. All that's to say, if you want to support the channel, obviously keep liking, subscribing, watching, sharing, commenting. Really go crazy on the comments. Or not crazy, but no, I do love the comments. I do love reading them and responding to them. But another way you can support is you can head over to Patreon. Several tiers of membership, some for just general support. One, I think the lowest one's like $3 a month for general support. And there's some higher level ones that offer some good perks. But if I have some money that I can specifically earmark for the Smithy, I can save up, get supplies, get tools, get parts. That'd make a big difference. So if you want to support that way, please feel free to join the Smithy community. But in other case, just keep liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, watching, and enjoying. I love that y'all love it so much. I will always make videos regardless, but if you guys want to see it maybe speed up a little bit, which I'd be happy to do, see about supporting the channel. Otherwise, everyone have a happy holidays. I'll see you next time.